Hello, my name is Mary. I'm from a little-known place called Labashida in West Clare that nobody probably ever heard of. Some of you may know me as Molly from the website. Anyway, my story... Sorry. Thanks. My story began in 2011 in May, but unknown to me, it probably started about 10 years earlier. I had that bloated feeling and general discomfort I put down to a visit from my brother in Kenya, so I thought I had some tropical disease. But my GP said I had nothing more than IBS, and she prescribed various lotions and potions over the next few years and even wanted me to take anti-anxiety pills, which I declined. In 2007, I had moved back to County Clare to mind my mother, my elderly mother. And I had got used to those uncomfortable symptoms, but I concentrated on my mother's needs. But in early May 2011, I discovered that I was putting on a lot of weight, but I wasn't really eating a lot. So in a very short time, I went up 2 sizes. Finally, I went to the doctor, and she did a blood test, but she never told me why she was taking the blood test. And 1 week later, while I was in Boots, in Ennis, I got a call saying, get yourself to a hospital now because your bloods are abnormal. And that was Friday afternoon, so I couldn't get to the hospital until Monday morning. I was in hospital first thing on Monday morning, and you know the score, you do all those tests, and I was there all day, going from scan to ultrasound, and to finally being told, we are keeping you. And the very nice gynecologist came along in the evening, and he was with 2 lovely sad-faced nurses looking at me saying, we suspect you have something called primary peritoneal cancer. I'd never heard of it before, but he said, it's similar to ovarian cancer. Well, I certainly had heard of that one, and that scared the hell out of me because I knew it was called the silent killer. So I think I cried all night, that first night. So the next day he came back to me again, and he told me that they would be doing a CT scan and draining the fluid that was in my tummy and all of that. But I cheered up when he told me that they were going to treat me, because I thought there's no treatment for this. He probably is going to tell me there's no treatment, but he told me he would. So I cheered up then, thinking that's fine. I even joked with the radiographer when I was lying there under the CT scan that it felt like I was on death row with the people looking down at me. I had 8 litres of fluid removed, and my CA125 was at 8,000. On the Wednesday, which happened to be my 66th birthday, the diagnosis was confirmed. It was the same week that the Queen and Obama came to town, if you remember. And I do remember that the Queen had said some years earlier, talked about her annus horribilis. Well, this was mine. I was told I would be treated with carboplatin and Taxol, and an operation didn't come into the question. I wasn't eligible to be operated on. And I decided at that stage not to ask them, not to give me a prognosis, because I wanted to be able to fight this in a positive way. But I think they actually took this that I didn't want to know anything at all. So I went gaily through my treatment, and I was happy that I reacted very well to the carboplatin and Taxol. And so I had mild neuropathy, which is manageable, and the steroids I took gave me the energy to keep minding my mum and to organise a refurbishment of her old cottage. And steroids are great things when you have for that reason. Losing my hair was a means to an end, and getting a spray tan on my way to having it removed, it soothed my vanity very much, so I was ready for it all. Finally, in October of that year, I was scanned and I had my CA125 checked again. And with these results, I was given those magic letters, NED, You all know what they mean, but it was good feeling to be told there was no evidence of disease. And from then on, I was back to 3 monthly checkups. So that was fine in the beginning when you're going for your checkups, but I didn't, because I had told them not to tell me too much, I wasn't getting very much information from my checkups. By now, of course, I had discovered Google, and even though we're told not to go into Google, of course, I was able to find out then the prognosis for my disease was 2.5 years. And my CA125 hadn't been checked for 3 years, so I'm thinking, yeah, I've lasted well past my sell-by date by now. And I even thought they had actually discharged me from oncology in 2015. So I thought, they must have made a mistake. My mother had just died, she was 93. Maybe I was going to reach that age after all. But in February 2016, I had those niggling pains back again. And I went to my gynecologist, and he did a CT scan. And in March of last year, at the bank holiday weekend, I got a telephone call. Well, there was a message left on my phone, actually, to say that swelling on your periaortic lymph nodes means that there is probably a recurrence of your disease. So I had to wait until Tuesday to find out. I was told then that the swelling wasn't too great at this stage. I went to St. James's for a second opinion, and the very nice Dr. O'Donnell there told me I should wait until July and get them rechecked again. And then I should be treated then with carboplatin and Taxol. So I was scheduled to start the chemo on the 15th of August, and because I had a long remission, I was expecting to be given carboplatin and Taxol again, but in fact, and Professor O'Donnell had recommended it, but in fact they only gave me carboplatin, which disappointed me in a way because I have heard that carboplatin and Taxol is the gold standard of treatment for this disease. And my liaison nurse told me that it was just too toxic for me, even though I had reacted very well the first time and I had no lasting neuropathy. I was still just told I was getting carboplatin. And I do suspect, or I have suspected it's my age that has come against me in this one. Anyway, at the end of my treatment last December, I was pronounced as stable again. So it was back to the waiting game. Now, when I started writing this story, it should have ended there. But 3 weeks ago, there was an unexpected twist to my story. I had mentioned a worrying symptom to Sharon when I was at the last coffee morning. She urged me to go to my GP, and I had a mammogram. I'd had a mammogram 2 years before that because I've had worrying symptoms, but it came back clear. But this time my GP sent me and to be fast-tracked to the symptomatic breast clinic in my hospital. And as the Aviva ad says, a whirlwind doesn't go there. So I went from an examination to a mammogram, to an ultrasound, to a biopsy. And so 3 weeks ago, I was called in to be told that I now had lobular breast cancer. It occurs in 10 to 15% of women who are diagnosed with breast cancer. And it's difficult to find in a mammogram because it's not a defined lump, it's a diffuse cancer that spreads in kind of tentacles. So it's just my luck to have a rare form of ovarian cancer and now a rare form of breast cancer. Believe me, it doesn't make me feel any special. I've had a bone scan and I got a clear result this Tuesday just gone by. I had an MRI scan yesterday morning on my way here to Galway, which I believe will show if it is in my second breast, because in this particular breast cancer it can be in both. I have faith in my surgeon who will see me next week to discuss my treatment plan. This breast clinic is state of the art. and it's run like a well-oiled machine, and completely unlike my experience in the main oncology unit, where overworked staff haven't time to give individual attention, despite their undoubted kindness and expertise. Although I've been told it's almost certainly primary, I have since read there could be a connection between peritoneal and this particular type of breast cancer. In most cases, the breast cancer is diagnosed first. I hope I misread this. In any case, I hope I'm in the right place here today to get some expert opinions. Overcare and the website have been invaluable to me since I first heard about it over 2 years ago. I have attended most of the patient days and coffee mornings, and I'm very grateful to those experts who give their valuable time to passing on their knowledge. The coffee mornings are wonderful as it gives us a chance to exchange stories in a more informal atmosphere, thanks to Sharon and June. I'm also supported by Slán Tún Clár, run by a wonderful woman called Mary Hewson, where we do Tai Chi and do reflexology and those things. In between times, when it all gets too much, I make an appointment with the psychologist attached to my oncology unit, and she keeps me sane. Of course, communicating with other women in the Overcare website has been a lifeline, as they are the only people who truly understand the feelings of isolation and worries of someone with ovarian cancer or primary peritoneal cancer. Like everyone else, I dream of the day when ovarian cancer and primary peritoneal cancer will be stopped in its tracks by a foolproof screening test. In the future, I think girl babies will be screened through gene testing and the disease will not be allowed to take hold. Meanwhile, I do my own little part in making people aware and try to remain positive. I thank God and the medical profession that I'm still alive to tell my story. Now, I just want a little bit longer because I wrote a little verse last year after I was recurred, and I call it Ode to Overcare. As I step back on the chemo train, I'm really scared of future pain. My journey was over, or so I thought. Now there's another battle to be fought. For 5 years or more, I dared to dream. Fate had other plans, 'twould seem. My NED status, it just disappears, and left me sobbing, full of tears. The first time round, I was very brave. I took that poison, my life to save. The side effects I tossed aside, and I wore my wig as a badge of pride. The second time round is such a blow. Now I've learned all there is to know. This disease is evil, it has no pity. It strikes us all from town to city. But there's one great thing I didn't have before, and I know they'll help me more and more. They're a group of people who are always there. Take a bow, my friends, from Overcare. Thank you for listening.